Gym rats are always injured, and when they get injured, what they do? They quit. They don't come back. They don't train that body part. They just give up, basically. Anatoly, he has his yearly injury. It's inevitable. Everyone's getting injured. Even he can't outrun an injury or out-train an injury. I'm not sure that out-recover an injury is probably the best way. Even he can't do it. And if he can't do it, then neither can you. My first ever injury was elbow tendonitis. It was awful. It was on this side. I can't remember why it happened. I think it was because I used to do deadlifts like this. But because of that, I had constant pain in my elbow. And it didn't stop me. It did not put me down. I was made of stronger stuff back then. That is for sure. And so I go and do my workout. It would be like super painful, and I probably shouldn't have done that, but I'd push through the pain. And eventually, I got like a special band that like put pressure, and it passed with time. It wasn't that serious an injury. It was just pain. Like, some joint inflammation. It was just pain. And it was probably a result of my ridiculous amount of volume, doing like 10 exercises and 4 sets per exercise. Compound had 5. But that was probably what caused it. And yet I continued training. Although most people in my scenario, they'd have that elbow pain and they'd think, oh gosh, I can't do any pulls. I can't do any pushes anymore, can I? Yeah, you can. You don't have to work this arm. Sure, this arm can be dead. Like, this is just dead animation, I don't know. But this one isn't. Like, you have shoulder pain. Everyone has shoulder pain, by the way. That's why it's such a good thing to pick. You have right shoulder pain, and it's like you can't even do stuff. Well, your left shoulder's fine. Your left chest is fine. Your left tricep is fine. Your left bicep's fine. Your left back. Is it left back or right back? Wait, this is my left shoulder. It comes through weird on the video, but would this be my left back? If this is my left shoulder, is that my left back or is that my right back? Does anyone know? Because from the standing position, I don't know how the back works anymore. But my point is, you have to stop just because one side is injured. And in fact, by working the shoulder, we're having like some cross magic, like interference, where it's helping this not only prevent atrophy, but actually build muscle. Like, isn't that so strange? This is the only thing that's actually being worked, and yet we can build muscle here. But not only that, we can speed up the recovery. We can speed up the healing process, because the more this works out, the body loves being symmetrical, right? And so it helps bring blood flow to the other side. It helps build new blood pathways on the other side. I don't know if you looked at people, but like people who are super athletic, they have entire different like blood circuitry kind of. We call them railways, at least I do. I think it's just me. But like they have entire different ones because they have so many more. Bringing oxygen and minerals and whatnot to so many more places. That's how efficient things get. And so when we speed up our recovery on this injured... This was the injured shoulder. Whoops. When we speed up recovery on this injured side by working this side, we're speeding up the time it takes to get back to properly training. And then the body loves being symmetrical, so the second we incorporate the other side, we're going back to normal pretty soon anyway. Like, it takes a little bit of catch-up, sure, but would you rather have to catch up to, a side being better whilst preventing a side from atrophying, or would you rather just stop going altogether, have your entire physique go down, and have one side atrophy so much more than the other because there was zero stimulus? I know which one I'm picking 100% of the time. And this is how you navigate injuries. So many people will not navigate them this way. Like I said earlier, they will just leave. They'll just say, man, I can't work out my upper body because of this one thing on one side and one joint is affected. If your shoulder's not good, sure, you might not be able to do stuff with your back and your chest because it does involve that sort of joint. But you can do work with your elbow. You can do work with your wrists. And what I like to do when I have an injury is when I work one side, in between I superset. Like, I know you shouldn't superset like this because you don't get enough rest and you'll see this. Rehab work is very, very low taxing. So what I do is if I'm helping this one recover, I will superset it with rehab work. Like my rehab work, always have a rehab plan if you get an injury, even if it's not for the right injury. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Even if it's not for the right injury, it's going to help. It's going to help. So put together your rehab plan and literally superset the exercises. After doing, chest exercise at this side, and you're like, okay, what can I do here? maybe I'm going to do some banded like rotator work. Who knows? It's not going to be difficult. It might sting a little at times and it might be a little bit painful, but we're not preventing it from healing. We're helping it heal. And I guarantee if you combine it in a way like that, and you still have the discipline to get in the gym every single day and work your other side, you're going to really build this up. Because rehab work at home, let's be real, the second you get out of the gym and that kind of routine and rhythm goes, you're not going to be doing your rehab work. So combining it off of something is going to help. It's like if you did calf raises after every single set of bench, even if it wasn't a failure, if you're not going to do calf raises, then yeah, like, how can you say to someone that's not good? Because sure, it might not be the best way to hit it, and I'd never recommend it for someone, but if that's the only way they'll do it, yeah, it's going to be good. It's a good thing, irregardless. Like, good things don't have to be perfect, they just have to be good. And they have to be better than they would be if you didn't do it. But I've had injuries, and the only one that properly put me out was my knee injury. I could have worked around this, but it demotivated me. I was at a point in my life where squats are my favorite movement, and so I wanted to help my squats be as strong as possible and build them up as much as possible. And I was finally doing it. I was finally making progress. And then when the injury happened, I didn't want to do it anymore. Or when I was doing my other stuff, it would click and it would lock, and I'd be like it wasn't bad. It wasn't really like getting in the way, but it just became a bit demoralizing. I don't know if that's a word, but it made me not want to work out. And those injuries will pop up, and again, we just got to push through them. Like, I could have made so much more progress during that time if I kept doing my upper body work, and then I did my leg days, supersetting, rehab work with properly training the other side. And that's what I did. I actually did that for a while. I think I did maybe 3 sessions. I'm acting like it was for a while, although my injury was only like 1 month, 2 months. But that was like a really easy way. And the second I started doing that, the consistency stuck. But I've had a lot of injuries, and I've always found a way around them, except that one leg injury, because that was like a punch in the face. I don't know. It was like the runner who gets told he can never run again. It really, really messed with my head. But I've had like a scapula issue. I couldn't even go to the arcade with my friends for like a month, and it was a valid excuse, but I feel like I've had so many injuries where every time I give an excuse, they're like, okay, this is just made up. But, I've had that. I've had shin splints, which actually returned. Shin splints are absolutely awful. It just, like, it feels like your shin is about to snap, but that's not actually what's going on. It's just like inflammation or something. And there is always a way around it. Some things you can push through the pain, like a shin splint or elbow tendonitis. Other things, there's something more going on. Like my knee injury was a tear of my joint, and something that has to be approached differently. Both can have rehab work. Rehab work for a shin splint can be something as simple as foam rolling. Rehab work for a shoulder can be as simple as looking up, literally just spending a few minutes on TikTok, finding something which has similar symptoms of what you're going on, and then just trying the exercise and seeing what works. Worst case scenario, it doesn't do anything. Best case scenario, you find something that works perfectly.